Dear friends, I was guided about 20 minutes ago to come and sit in front of this webcam and allow the Master Jesus speak through me to your heart. And the title is Lord, that I may be healed. I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm coming to you from love and an open heart. Lord, that I may be healed. How many times have I said that myself to God in prayer, and none more so than at this moment in time when I'm personally struggling with a trapped L3 and 4 nerve in my lower spine from years of heavy lifting as a nurse. So I too am asking God, Lord, that I may be healed. And He is answering my prayer in a roundabout way, because I've had to learn to bless the problem and wait on God to find the remedy. And when the remedy comes, it will come with complete healing. So, Lord, that I may be healed is something that probably you're asking yourself today. Lord, I need your healing. And I know that many of God's children are suffering as we speak. And what recently caught my attention was the news flash about the founder of Apple. I think his name was Steve, who died of pancreatic cancer. And I believe that he invested a lot of time, energy, and his money in the alternative route. And interestingly, listening to the professionals from conventional medicine, they were saying that had he have opted to choose the conventional route, not the alternative route, that they could have spared his life. Now that's okay in hindsight, but what I found so disturbing was to listen to the reporters say that on the east coast of America, around Los Angeles and California, there are graveyards full of young, bright, intellectual people who have chosen to ignore the conventional route and gone down the alternative route. And the alternative route didn't really give them any time. So whether the alternative route is to be advocated at the expense of conventional medicine is certainly worth debating. And as a Catholic Christian and as a man of prayer, I guess I have to reflect on my 38 years as a qualified nurse, supporting many people dying of cancer. And I remember in 1972, as a young second-year student nurse, a young monk in training in a very busy teaching hospital in Manchester, I was finishing my 7 nights of duty, and one of our patients was a beautiful young man called Paul, 24 years old, who had advanced form of leukemia. And Paul was a beautiful man, a very special man. And why he should come now, clearly it shows that I still have a great love for this man and the courage. He was so courageous. And Paul was happily married, and his wife was expecting their first child. And as a young monk, I found it really hard to administer care to Paul, because I got caught up in a mindset as, how could God allow this? Where is this God of love? And as a young monk, my faith was really being tested. So much so that in the office, in the nurse's office, I really couldn't go back on the ward. So the student nurse who was working with me phoned the deputy matron who was on for the hospital that night to come and have a chat with me. And I really struggled with her, and she was a German lady. She didn't mince her words, and she gave it to me straight from the heart. You get in there and you do what you are trained to do, and no more nonsense. So I followed her advice, but Paul put his hand out as he was bleeding from every orifice, and we got special antibiotic sprays from France that were very expensive to control the infection. And he held my hand and he said to me, "Am I dying?" And you can imagine how I felt. And that was in 72. It's now 2011. And I sat with Paul, and I just sat and held his hand, and I just pleaded with God to touch him. But I guess I was asking for a miraculous healing. And physically, I didn't see that. But what I did find years later, Paul was given a sense of peace and acceptance. And though we had done everything possible down the conventional route to make his stay with us comfortable, it was hard, very hard. But in sitting with Paul, he taught me so much about me. And he was one of my greatest teachers. And though he was soon to be a dad, and his wife was 7 months pregnant, I just felt so empty and alone in myself. But then when I discovered the newsreel about Steve, the founder of Apple, choosing the alternative route, maybe there's sense in that, maybe there's not, but I don't think that we should go along with a mindset that says the conventional route is no good, because there's a lot of pluses in the conventional route, especially today with the advances of surgery and the technology. But I know that we have to come to our own God, whoever our God is, and we have to be willing not to listen to the powerful voices, not to listen to the experts, but to go into our interior castle, our soul, and surrender our heart and surrender the fear and wait for the decision to be given. And if that decision is to go down the conventional route, despite MRSA in our hospitals, then that's what we must do. But we have to be honest with ourselves. And if the answer that's given, and it's from God, to go down the alternative route, then we must follow that as well. But we must be wary of alternative practitioners who say that their therapy works better than conventional medicine. That is dangerous. And that disturbs me as a retired nurse practitioner of 38 years, who gave 12 years of my life before ill health retirement in caring for the dying as a specialist nurse practitioner. I would never advocate one route against the other or in preference of the other. My heart would say, pray, reflect, listen to your heart. And if it's God's will to marry the two, the conventional with the alternative route, then that is far better, isn't it? So be wary of practitioners from the alternative field that tell you that theirs is the only way forward, that theirs is the only route to healing, and that you will have quality of life. I would take everything with a pinch of salt, my dear friends, and always come to God with your fear, with your worry, with your anxiety, and not be coerced into thinking that the only way is through one or the other. Listen to your heart. Your heart is your teacher. And try not to encourage any practitioner, be they conventional or alternative, to sway your thinking. Because God knows your needs and He will bless you.